Hey guys, Cregger here. So I'm here at the Odyssey, about to head into Cineworld because I'm going up to see Weapons, yep, the new Zach Cregger film. Really looking forward to this. The marketing has been really strong, building up a strong mystery. And I really enjoyed Barbarian, so, I'm hoping that this one will be just as good, deliver just as many fun surprises. I got my fingers crossed. But the only way to find out is to head in, get some snaps, and get seated for Weapons. So I've got my popcorn here and a Pepsi, ready to see what surprises Zach Cregger has up his sleeve this time. So, Weapons. I'm back from seeing it. This is written and directed by Zach Cregger, who of course burst onto the horror scene with great confidence in 2022 with Barbarian, which was a hugely enjoyable film that, in amongst all its scares, had some actually very interesting things to say about toxic masculinity and also subverted a few expectations along the way, going in directions that, I don't think anybody saw coming. And so obviously from there, all eyes were on Cregger. There was tons of buzz going into this, expectations were sky high as we eagerly awaited the answer of just how Cregger would follow that one up. But does the film live up to the buzz of Cregger's last directorial offering? Let's find out. So the film is set in Maybrook, a small town just like any other. Well, that is until one night at 2:17 a.m. when 17 kids from the local elementary school get out of their beds, walk out their front doors into the night, never to return. An incident that shakes the local community right to its core, with the residents, including parents and local law enforcement, desperately searching for answers, including Justine Gandhi, the teacher of the class that went missing. So it's worth noting that there was a pretty intense bidding war for this script, notably Jordan Peele threw his hat into the ring, but ultimately lost out to New Line, and Warners were clearly really confident in this, moving it out of the fuck you, it's January slot into a prime summer date. And you know what? That confidence was not for nothing, because this is a great film. If you're a horror fan, if you enjoyed Barbarian, yeah, you're going to get a kick out of this. So, what I have to commend here is that, narratively speaking, it's actually a lot more ambitious than Barbarian. It tackles a much bigger scope, this multi-chapter tale, telling a story from multiple different perspectives as we, drip fit new bits of context into this unfolding mystery. It's that, gradual, slow build that really makes it so compelling to watch as, these new, clues, slowly lead you to very interesting answers and, recontextualizes the things that we already know in very interesting ways. But much like Barbarian, it also has very interesting ideas on its mind. Pretty scathing criticism of scapegoating. How these, communities in times of crisis will often, point the finger of blame at whoever is convenient, hoping that it'll lead to the easy answers that they want. And also, an interesting thing about how the institutions we have in place to, keep, kids and indeed the local community safe pretty interesting exploration of how these aren't always infallible, very, very, interesting thematic material at play to, really enrich that, compelling central mystery. Now, while I wouldn't exactly say the film is like outright scary, it is consistently unsettling, really building up a uneasy, suspenseful atmosphere throughout, but releasing that in just the right moments with some actually quite well executed jump scares. But also, in keeping with Cregger's history and comedy, there are moments that are actually quite funny, but it doesn't detract from the atmosphere of the film. Rather, it's implemented in just the right moments that, it serves as a nice little relief from the, heavier material at play. Yeah, it's a really, really well executed film with some actually pretty confident filmmaking. And, you know, Cregger has really come on as a filmmaker since Barbarian, as he does a great job of blending, of reality and dreams in very interesting ways with some really striking shot choices and some fun shot compositions. It's really, really well done. And the score, which ironically Cregger is also involved with, does a really good job of enhancing that, tense, unsettling atmosphere. It is a really, really well made film. But of course, none of this would be complete without a very talented ensemble of actors really making this gripping material work. And yeah, the performances here are fantastic. Obviously, at the center of things, we have Julia Garner, fresh off Fantastic Four, as Justine, and she's someone who's very much struggling with her own past troubles and alcohol use, and also being the subject of much suspicion and finger pointing. And I think Garner really does a great job with that. And in contrast, we also have Josh Brolin as Archer, a construction worker whose son is one of the missing kids, and he does a really great job as this desperate father searching for answers, and he really, really sells the emotional weight of that. Yeah, he is fantastic. Probably the standout performance of the film, I'd say. We also have Alden Ehrenreich as Paul, a local police officer who is struggling with his dedication to the job as the case takes a toll. It's he is very, very good. We also have Austin Abrams as James, a a local druggie who gets caught up with Paul in a very, very funny subplot. Everybody here is great, and Barbarian fans, keep your eyes peeled for a fun little reunion as well. I won't spoil who, but if you know, you know. But of course, what we're here for, much like Barbarian, is does this deliver any fun surprises? Does it subvert expectations in any way? And I mean, honestly, depending on who you are, the big reveal here may not quite top the insanity of Barbarian's big twist, but man, once that third act twist hits, man, it is a bonkers shift in direction that really just, this is when the horror aspect of the film just really, really clicks. It is an absolute wild ride. Really, really gripping stuff. But it's as insane as its shift in direction is, it also feels very rooted in the overarching narrative of the film, and indeed contextualizes things in quite unexpected ways. Yeah, it is really, really well done. And it's definitely a great one to experience with a crowd on the big screen, which is exactly how I recommend seeing it. Overall, Weapons sees Zach Cregger really grow in confidence as director, delivering an ambitious and grippingly told mystery horror with some fun surprises up its sleeve and great performances. It is a proper crowd pleaser. Out of 10, Weapons gets a 9. So, let me know down in the comments, have you seen Weapons? What did you think of it? What did you make of it in comparison to Barbarian? Without spoilers, what did you make of the big reveal? And are you looking forward to seeing Cregger's Resident Evil reboot? Because obviously that is how he is following this up. Let me know all that down in the comments. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're new. And don't forget to turn on post notifications so you don't miss an upload.